Hi there. I'm Wendy Stone, your host and reader for Storytime. Tonight we'll be continuing Dog Upon Atlas into Chapter 7. Thank you for joining me. The Bricktail facility in East Flatbush sprawled an entire city block at the edge of a large industrial complex. Rows of old tenement buildings surrounded it on all sides. I stood at the corner across the street, watching the building, chewing on a piece of salmon jerky. I'd spent a good deal of my life avoiding the clans. Now I was planning a break-in into a 7 facility. More like a sneak-in, I told myself. It sounded better. I'd still get thrown the clink for trespassing, but I didn't have time to go through official channels. And considering I'd pissed off a clan member that morning, whose name was plastered all over the facility. Gah! I set my forelegs to moving before I could change my mind and cross the street, running behind the delivery truck along the east side of the building, through the open gates before they shut. I waited till the deliveries were removed, then entered the cargo area. Finding a brown paunch hanging from a hook, I threw it over my own paunch and grabbed a random box from the truck. No backpack harness, I went to my hinds and shuffled in through the delivery door. Spotting the driver trotting my way, I slipped into the first door I saw, a closet, and waited as he passed me. My eyes watered, hiding there in the dark as my senses regretfully consumed the most disgustingly sterile smell I'd ever encountered. Filtered and purified air cooled to an unnatural temperature, a thick blanket of ammonia and chemically synthesized air fresheners assaulted me and my 500 million olfactory receptors. How do these dogs stand it? I thought, 10+ hours a day. The scents were as undogly as possible. Made me want to find a pile of pigeon crap and roll in it. How had we, as a species, moved so far from our true nature? The delivery driver's howling triggered his engine. Once the truck sounded down the street, I removed the brown paunch and grabbed a white medical one hanging from the hook inside the closet. I gave it a good sniff. Good enough. It would smell like I belonged there. After wandering the halls for a few minutes, asking around and getting some strange looks, I found Jomi's station, which was nothing more than a tiny locker in the janitorial room with her name on a tiny plaque. And nothing inside but a shirt, an extra uniform, and lots of empty food wrappers. "You dirty mongrel," someone said behind me. "Excuse me?" I turned. "I know you ain't talking to me." The dog, looking like a drill sergeant, his fur cropped so close I could guess his birthday, went to his hinds and crossed his front paws. Sneaking inside this building and donning that... He stopped to sniff in my direction. "You're not a mongrel. You had eggs and dark roast coffee this morning. Color me impressed." "Yeah, buddy. Deacon Tawnyside here. I'm a friend of Sophia Bricktail." You had to say it. "I'm a PI. I need to talk to one of her employees, Dr. Tessa Fullwither." "And yet you stand in front of Jomi's locker," he said. "Yeah, well, Jomi's father indicated she might know Fullwither. Mr. Benson Dog, help me. I almost said gray-tipped. Stronghawk. Mr. Benson Stronghawk, Jomi's father." "You need to make an appointment," he said, "like everyone else. Make an appointment and I will be glad to... Hey, pal. Do you want me to call Miss Bricktail and tell her you're impeding my investigation?" Name drop me? You bet. On the way over, I'd read a newspaper headline. Sophia was rumored to be the next in line to lead the Bricktail clan. Both of us armed with that knowledge, he wouldn't call my bluff. Not this guy. "I'll need to verify this with Miss Bricktail," he said and headed for the nearest phone. "Oh, wait. Don't make that call. I need some information, that's all. Then I'll be out of your fur." He went to his hinds again. "Very well, but you must wear these while in my facility." He threw a pair of white booties at me. Will we be operating? I hated shoes, of every kind. He scowled until I surrendered. All right, here we go. See? Mick Needlepad, he introduced himself while I struggled with the paper booties. Suzerain of sanitation here at Bricktail Pharmaceuticals. You're her boss, I said. Yes, a shame about young Jomi. A shame? Why you say that? Had he already heard the news? It had been less than 14 hours. Well, I have to fire the young pup, of course. Hasn't called in, hasn't shown up for work in over a week. Tardiness we can forgive, but an absence of both body and character? No. Alas, Miss Stronghawk was never fated to serve in the custodial arts. And why do you say that, Mr. Needlepad? Miss Stronghawk is second-string steward of custodial maintenance and the quantitative measurements lab, division of the company that collects genetic information. But the girl is too curious, always asking questions, always talking to the lab technicians and doctors. Did Jomi ever express an interest in studying this stuff? I mean, did she ever talk about going back to school? No, sir, she did not. But curious. She worked awfully hard to get this job, and awfully hard to swing this particular division. Did she have any friends here? Talk to anybody? Or circulate with anybody in particular? As a matter of fact, that would be Dr. Fullwither, the head of the genetics department here at Bricktail. Quelle surprise, I said. Excuse me, he asked. Nothing. So, can I talk to her? May you talk to her. And no, Dr. Fullwither is not working today. As a matter of fact, we haven't seen her in, let me guess, I said, a week. He frowned. Is there anything else I can do for you, Mr. Tawnyside? Well, sir, I think I should inform you that Jomi won't be returning to work. She's dead. Oh, he showed a surprising amount of empathy. I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Tawnyside. While she was a curious girl, she was also a hard worker. We're disappointed to hear this news. Thanks. Is there anything else you want to tell me about Jomi? Anything about her friendship with Dr. Fullwither that stood out? Always ask the open-ended question. Get lots of information that way. Friendship is a strong word, Mr. Tawnyside. And while we are a fan of fastidious behavior, we don't have time to waste. Wasn't once enough to receive this information? What are you talking about? The self-reference was scrambling this guy's brain. We shared this information with your assistant this morning. Not an hour has passed since she was toured. This assistant of mine, what'd she look like? Approximately 9 kilograms heavier, perhaps 20 centimeters higher, blonde top coat, peach bottom coat, angular muzzle, piercing brown eyes, oval ears, wearing a rust-colored paunch, and smelled of lilacs in a humid summer heat. I apologize. We don't recall more clearly than that. Pfft, that's crystal clear, sir. And did not describe my daughter at all. She tell you her name? She did. Olivia. Just Olivia. No surname. She was asking the same questions as me, I asked. She was, he said. Tell me something. Does the word Fairyview mean anything to you? I'm afraid it doesn't. I will say that, though Jomi had no office in the building, I did see her and Dr. Fullwither spending most of their breaks in the common area out back. I took a card from the front of my paunch. If you can think of anything else about Jomi and Tessa specifically, would you mind calling me? He took the card and nodded once. And do you mind if I poke around out back? I was pushing it. His muzzle dipped slightly. I suppose we don't. But you will refrain from entering secure areas. Straight outside with you. Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. As soon as I was outdoors, I shed the booties. I found the common area directly to the west of the loading docks, and hello, gorgeous. It was a beautiful grassy spread with tables and seating lining the center. I sniffed out a nice, ripe patch of grass and rolled. Better. The stench of the medical building interior wiped off, I trotted a large line of zigzags across the common area. Jomi's scent was all over the place, but so was everyone else's, until I reached a construction at the corner edge of the building, a wooden and cement shack. Unlike the rest of the common area, it smelled strongly of one dog, Jomi Stronghawk. Or was it Dr. Fullwither's shirt? The two were largely the same in my nose, with subtle differences, but not enough. I sniffed at the crack in the door. Whoa! Decay. Something inside the shack was dead. Dr. Fullwither? No. Someone would have noticed before me. Here we go. I stood on my hinds and gently pushed one side of the door, not wanting to disturb the body. but instead of another body, I found small pots of flowers lining a shelf near the only window. Holy bones! I'd never been quite so happy to find rotting plants at the end of a death marker. I imagined the two of them, Jomi and Tessa, out in the shack. But doing what? Tending daisies together? Doubtful. "What are you looking for?" a voice asked. My head snapped to the open door, the wind blowing it on its creaky hinges, but no one was there. I stuck my head out. Not a soul in the yard. "Why are you looking for Jomi?" This time I scuttled to the back of the small building like a 3-week-old pup. "Who said that?" I said in a near whisper yell, my heart pounding out a gallop I wanted to exercise. "You're looking for Jomi Stronghawk, aren't you?" The voice filled the small shack, neither male nor female. So what if I was? Did it feel more or less stupid talking to a voice that wasn't there? "What do you want with her?" "What do you want with her? Who are you?" The voice hesitated. "A friend." "A disembodied friend?" "Jomi is in trouble, isn't she?" The voice didn't know that she was gone. That cut out my gang. "Does she come out here often to talk to you?" Like an idiot, I briefly scanned the wilting flower petals for signs of movement. "Has something bad happened to her and Tessa? Is Jomi dead?" the voice asked. "Is that why you're here?" This voice knew me, and knew enough about the case to know Jomi and Fullwither were connected somehow. "How do you know me? How do you know Jomi or Fullwither? Where are you? Hey, wait a sec. Are you this Olivia?" "I'm someone who wants to find them as bad as you." My whiskers twitched, shifting forward like a satellite, catching a subtle drift of raw beef, someone's breakfast still fresh on the tongue. That meant they were near. My eyes drifted up toward the scent, spotting a large metal hole at the top of the wall. Old water, some sort of aqueduct. "Keep talking, Spooky. I'm a-comin'." "So, you're a friend of Jomi's?" I asked, then tiptoed out of the shack. I rounded the structure, following the daisy-chained PVC pipes at the roof to a rain barrel attached to the side of the building. Then I heard it, the rattle of a paint can. Across the street, a dog stood in front of a brick wall under sprawling yellow letters reading, "Death to the Bloodlines." The dirty mongrel's signature tag. With the dog's back to me, I huffed it across the street, nabbing her by the shoulders, my sedative patch out and ready to get sticky. "Roxy, you naughty—" Not Roxy, not a her at all. A him, a young him. "Hey, was that you?" What me?" "How old are you? You smell like pencils and chalkboard erasers." "Almost 2, he sniffed. "You talking to me a minute ago?" He scoffed. "Hey, why you painting this anyway? You a dirty mongrel?" "I wish," he said. "The mongrels are heroes, dude. They're gonna make the 7 pay. They're gonna burn Founder's Corner to the ground. We're all gonna be mongrels." "Shut up!" I threw him down the sidewalk. "Get back to school. Go on." "Death to the Bloodlines!" he yelled as he ran. Yeah. Bite my bloodline, you little punk." Pfft, nothing but a punk. I raced back into the shack. "Hey, hello? You still there? Can you hear me?" Nothing. My head down and full of questions, I headed toward the nearest subway until an alarm sounded on my watch. I stared at it, flummoxed. "What do you want?" My feet stopped. Crap, it's Monday. It's that time. "You got something against me, huh?" I asked the sky again. But it wasn't the sky's fault. It wasn't even Monday's fault. It was my fault. Well, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in Chapter 8. Until then, find a nice fire and stay warm.